well as, generous thoughts about me. Well, very good morning, good evening, based on your time zone, guys. I hope most of you are in India, but if anyone is joining outside India, then, greetings to you as well. Little bit about me, though Dr. Karthik has mentioned, but you should know and why I'm telling because today webinar is basically towards the career in pharmacovigilance. So you should know about my journey as well. I will not take much of your time because I want to have this very much interactive session. So the 1 hour goes like this way. For next couple of 30 minutes or so, I will tell you about myself, my journey in pharmacovigilance in the industry, the hiccups, the challenges that I came across, and the solutions that I put across. And career in pharmacovigilance on a functional way, on a operational manner, on a leadership manner, how you can really plan for yourself. If you really have given a deep thought that you really want to go into this particular career in your life, if you want to choose pharmacovigilance as a domain for you to just go ahead, then definitely, this session, I must say, is going to be very productive and fruitful for you because most of you, I believe, are at a career peak, where you are starting, where you are choosing the domain, where, how, when, and, by whom we can start our career in pharmacovigilance or in clinical operations or in medical affairs or so on. So on that note, I am Dr. Sakshi Rastogi, a certified physician. During my initial career years from 2002 to 2007, I practiced gynae. I had my own nursing home. But later on, I really realized that, I have more potential. And that really, I did my own self-assessment that I'm really not into just sitting in a community and just do this clinical practice where I believe that I am having a potential of effective communication, which Dr. Karthik just mentioned, and I've really followed that. Because we live in a digital era in today's time, and I believe effective communication and connect is much, much more important, and 90% of problem gets resolved with it. So then I moved into the corporate world. I started my career in pharmacovigilance, and prior to that, I did a small course in post-graduation in clinical research from one of our STEAM institute in Delhi. And then they gave me the placement, and I started my career with APC Pharma, which is currently Epsor Pharma. I started as a data entry person, right? So who is doing the cases to be entered into a safety database and then submit to the customers. And multiple other roles were there. But then after 2 years, I moved into a next role as a quality reviewer. Then I moved as a team lead. Then in another company, I moved as a program manager. And then I really realized that there is a lot of potential in pharmacovigilance. So why not go for client engagement? Because I believe I'm very good in presentation. I can have a good hands-on on the public relationship, right? So I'm good in communication. I'm good in presentation. So why not try for client engagement? And then I got a success there. Then I was like, what next? And then I went into the pre-sales as well as marketing part where you really bring the deals, how the projects get from the customers and how you really provide them the deliverables on a how to work collaboratively with the operations team. And further, I really realized that, now it's done. So you should be a client partner where you will provide them the solution when it comes to pharmacovigilance domain in terms of automation, in terms of transformation, because post-COVID, most of the industry is really demanding the transformation and automation part. So having said that, I attained almost 21 years in the industry, along with my clinical practice, have worked in multiple domain and multiple functional and roles for pharmacovigilance. And today we are definitely going to discuss more about pharmacovigilance because when I started my career, there were none who really guided us. So we really chose our path. And you guys are really lucky that if I am able to give or leave a footprints in just 5 of you, definitely my today's time, my 1 hour time will be successful, fruitful for me. So The question was the career in pharmacovigilance, and many students have reached out to me offline in last 1 week. They tried to connect me through LinkedIn. Sorry guys if I was not able to provide you responses due to my hectic schedule, but today we will do that. When it comes to pharmacovigilance, guys, this is a very booming career. When I started my career in way 2002, but 2008, sorry, but now it is very well established and people are really looking forward to have their career for multiple reasons. Good pay packages, time bound work, right? Good industry. You really get acquisited and connected with the very like minded people, corporate environment, and then you will get a exposure, which is much important as your personality on professional as well as personal aspect, right? So people will again think that what career I can have when I choose for pharmacovigilance, because this is an ocean of pool. This is a pool of ocean. So how should I go behind this? So just to share with you guys, pharmacovigilance is itself is a big domain, right? It's a big service portfolio where in it there are multiple services that to be done. Now you need to understand when it comes to pharmacovigilance, we will call it PV. Okay, so when it comes to PV, either I would start my career as a data entry person for the ICSR management, or I should go for some, I am a very good at analytical thinking. I do a good brainstorming. I am really good in providing the solutions. So then go ahead for the literature search, right? Where you have to perform article search on social media sites, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Then there are some approved sites, PubMed, Embase, Ovid, and you provide your analytical thinking. Either these particular drugs or events are correlated with each other. Then come to the next, then, if you attain a good experience as a ICSR person, as a data entry person, in the data entry for the ICSR management itself, you have multiple things. Either you want to work as a data entry person, you enter the case into a safety domain, Argus, ADIS-G, and then you say, hey, I have attained 2-3 years of your experience, so let's work as a quality reviewer, where you have to check others' work, right? For the completeness, for the accuracy, to avoid errors. And then if many of you and few of you are from the medical profession, like, MBBS, MDs, then they really get into the medical review job role, right? Because when it comes to medical review job role, it is a mandate that we should have some MBBS, MDs people because of the evaluation and assessments to be done. And it is requirement by the regulatory aspect. So that is there. Now, I talk about ICSR management, where are multiple roles: data entry, quality review, medical review. Then comes to, if you are good at analytical thinking and you can provide a good solution, then go for literature search and management. If you are good in writing, if you can elaborate very well in writing, if you can transform, if you can provide a summary on any article in a very appropriate as well as medically succinate way, then you can always choose for the medical writing. But just to share with you, getting into a aggregate report writing, PSUR, PADERS, FEBRERS, it is important that you should attain some experience, 2-3 years of experience in literature search as well as ICSR management, because that is going to provide you more broader aspect. But nevertheless, some freshers can get into the medical writing as well if companies are asking, hey, we need freshers. And, if you feel that you are very good in writing, you can transform any particular article into just 10-15 line summary, and that will make a sense, that will not change the overall case study or case outcome. Then you can think about medical writing, safety writing, aggregate report writing. These are all synonymous. Now, next comes to the signal management. That signal management is more for B Pharm, M Pharm, and that too who has attained almost 3 years of experience. So if you feel that, hey, I will start my career as a ICSR case management person and will after 2 years switch to literature search, and then after that I can really look into medical writing, signal management, Please go on. So as I say, it's a big ocean. You really have to think about yourself. Never look for spoon feed. You as an individual know your strengths better. You as an individual know your weakness better. So sit aside for 5 minutes and just assess, hey, what's my strength? Okay, if that is my strength, let's me pick this. And you just, target that particular opportunity. But if you feel no, I really need some guidance, some mentorship, then definitely get into an industry and look for the thoughts. You have to excuse me for a couple of seconds, please. Just 2 minutes. Sorry, guys, I missed my water bottle. And while I was speaking, I was just little chopped. No worries. So that comes to case management or ICSR management, literature search, then safety writing or aggregate report writing, or signal management. Signal management is really needing a lot of experience in the industry before you take up that role, right? And I really stress, I really guide that if you want to have your career in PV, then start with a baby step. Don't really think that I'm looking for a very high package and I really want to get into aggregate report or signal management. You are welcoming yourself toward the failure, because then you will be aloof. You will not able to understand anything. So what I suggest, either you should be ready enough to get into for those role by reading the pharmacovigilance modules on EMA side, ICH-GCP guidelines on US FDA side. Now DCGI, CDSCO has come up their own guidelines. So try to spend little time there. And these are the technical or functional roles that one can really look forward. I, as an individual, has started my career as I said, data processor, data entry person. Then I moved into literature search. Then I really get a role of quality reviewer. Then I went into team lead, program management, project management, client engagement, and so on and so on. Now you might think, hey Sakshi, how we really get to know that this is the only thing where you have to go? So always target the companies where they are coming up, like, we are looking for freshers, and try to assess the role, try to assess the job description, which they are looking for. Try to get into the industry, and then it is really very much convenient and flexible for you to target the another company. Try to invest at least 2 initial years in a company rather than just looking for a jump in the sake of money. Because in today's time, when I am interviewing people, they are very, very aspiration, and being aspiring is not a bad thing. But I really feel that people are losing that knowledge. People do not have that basic information, and somehow that is where they have to spend almost 8, 9, 10 years doing the data entry, which should not be a role. If you really feel that you should target yourself being at a leadership role after 15 years of starting your career in PV, then go with a baby step. Try to know the technology. Try to understand how the functional things are working, how a case can be processed, what case is a serious, what case is not a serious, how much time a case take in processing, spontaneous, literature, clinical trial, legal, SUSARs, how much time it takes, literature search, abstract and full text article, how much time it takes, the kind of reports, how much time, are there simple, medium and complex reports? Unless you will not have idea of all these, it will be very, very challenging and tough for you to get into a bigger role. Unless you really have decided something that I will attain some experience and then move out of this particular portfolio and get into some different industry, which I also have seen in today's time. People are just trying their hands on and then change their target. But I believe if you really want to have a very successful career in pharmacovigilance, go ahead with the functional role, right? start with either medical information contact center, right? There must be a call center where calls keep coming in. So try to attain that particular accent, how to speak with the US people, European people, Japanese, Chinese, and, how to provide them the resolution during the live telephone itself. We are doing live, so I'm able to talk to you without any interruption. So that's a good thing, right? So that's how you have to do on the medical information contact center roles as well. So coming back to the point, if it is a functional role, if you are a start of your career, if you are looking to have a career dominantly into PV, then to start with, either go as a call center specialist or a data entry person. After 6 months or a year, you will be definitely getting promoted as a quality reviewer, then as a literature search person, aggregate report writing, signal management, medical safety assessment, and so on. But here is a twist. If you feel after 3 or 4 years being into the industry at this functional role in any one of them, and you feel you are very good in people management, you are too good in taking care of an entire project as a person, as an individual. If you feel I want to work as an individual contributor, that is something different. But if you feel, hey, I am able to manage 10 people at one time, then you can always look for a team lead role, right? People management role, project management role, program management role. And that definitely does not come as a fresher. For that, you have to be industry for at least 3 to 5 years for sure. You should know the domain. You should know how you have to convince people. You should know how you are going to do the conflict management, how you are going to manage different thoughts, people's mind at one go, how you are going to make everybody happy at one time. Because if people are happy, your project is going to be successfully delivered. If people are not happy, they will leave your company, they will leave you. You might really, reading a lot about bossism, managers, and all that. But eventually you get to know, if you want to be a leader in yourself, you really should be a very visionary, very strategic, very focused, and people-oriented. So earlier I was talking about the functional role, ICSR management, contact center, literature search, aggregate report writing, signal management, medical safety assessment. The more you will attain the experience, the more better you will get into all kind of these roles. But importantly, you really also need to assess yourself. If you are good at presentation, if you are good at fluent English, if you are good at people management, if you are good at convincing management, if you are good at conflict management, if you know how to resolve an issue and escalation, then that particular roles are for you. Now, coming to this operational management delivery, right? Leadership role, where you can work as a team lead, as an associate manager, as a senior manager, as a company manager, as operations manager. These are the leadership role which always comes with the experience, right? But here also you need to assess that, am I capable enough of taking care of all this at one go without me putting into a dilemma? Am I able to do the justice to the people? Am I able to take all this burden? And trust me, guys, there is no 8 to 5 job. When you comes into any leadership role, starting from a team lead to the senior management, vice president or president or whosoever, you really do not have to look towards the clock. It's always 24/7 sometimes. But yes, lately, since the time digitalization and this post-pandemic, people have really become very planned and organized. And they really feel, okay, 12 to 13 hours is okay. They do work in flexible hours, But you really have to ensure that clients should not get impacted. Client is at utmost important and on a primary responsibility and priority. So their timelines, their adherence, the quality, the escalation from the regulatory bodies should be taken care very well. Now, what I really want to tell to you over here, I'm not making you feel afraid. I'm not making you feel that this is very challenging. What I'm telling to you, you really have to assess if you really want to have your career in PV. Like I really started, and when I really realized that this is a potential of mine, let's explore. So I explored the industry, I got a job role. I exhaled there, then I said, okay, what next? And then what next? So you should be very planned and organized. And this comes with time. If you will say I'm a very planned and organized, might be different at your personal aspect than the professional. So I am very planned and organized. I know what time, where, when, and how I have to do the things without impacting anybody's inboxes or anybody deliverables, and nobody has to send me the gentle reminder, right? So that kind of a mindset you should be having. So we talk about the functional roles, first layer, which is important for you if you want to get into PV. Then we talk about the leadership roles, right? People management, project management, program management, uh, operations management, entire deliveries, entire portfolios, right? You must have seen people are at senior vice president, director, associate director. These are the job roles basis on the company. A small company of 50 people might have a vice president role itself, but a bigger company will be having a vice president role only for those who attain 35 years of experience. So never get carried away with the positions. Always get carried away with the role. What role, what responsibility you are going to manage, because that is going to give you the exposure in the industry. That is going to get you connected. That is going to give you the experience. Now, third and most important, functional role, leadership role, third one. Once you get into all this one, then you decide, why not I'm trying my hands on pre-sales and marketing, right? I am good in writing the proposals, how to convince a customer that company for which I am working is very good to take care of your project. So that's in the safe hand. You give us a project and we will deliver it. We have people, we have skills, competencies, we will enable you the good rates, we are providing you the automation. So it's a mix and match. So what I am telling you, third layer comes to the business development, pre-sales, marketing, campaigns, where you can think that you can write a big proposal, you can write the SOPs, you can write the policies, you can write anything which have been asked to you with the no provision of no. So there should not be a no when you really think that you want to be a solution architect or a subject matter expert or a principal consultant, right? So when it comes to a principal consultant, that means that is the person to whom we should go for any resolution. That is the person who can provide us a solution, how and when and where a company or a sponsor or a customer or a client should be approached. What is the way that we can win this particular deal and we will onboard more new freshers and mix of people and experienced one. Next one, post-pandemic, and you must have seen the articles if you are really up on PV. Most companies, 90% or more than that, really looking for the transformation and automation these days. People feel that it should be a man and machine plus solution, right? So there you can always think, but for that you really need to know what is contact center, what is ICSR management and all those roles, how much time it takes, what kind of a cases to process, literature search, aggregate report. If you know all these things, then you can also work as a technical person. When I say technical, that you work with engineers in a company and come up with the IPs, right? They come up with the product that, we have prepared this particular app by which most of your services will get automated. So it will be a man and machine solution. So man has to put this much of effort where they have to do just the quality review for completeness and accuracy check. But our tool, our platform is going to do automatically multiple of things. They are going to capture all the data. So that is also. So in short, Pharmacovigilance is really, really a platform where you will take your career the way you want. It should not be for anyone else. If you have a planned and organized strategy, if you are much focused about your career, I say about myself, when I started my career post clinical practice of gynae, I really planned that after 2 years I want to achieve this, after 3 years I want to achieve this, after 10 years I want to be at that way. And that's how we did it, right? So I have been to US and Philippines for almost 3 years. I was there at a client site. I worked very closely with the customer, resolved their things. So if you think there are on-site opportunity, there is a good package, there is a good reputation, there is a good understanding, you will get a lot of exposure. But what is needed from you? You should be very proactive. You are very planned and organized. You should do a time management. You are very focused, strategize, and you should know how to resolve a resolution. You should not always do a complaints, but you should always come up with a solution as well. It's okay, do a complaint, but come up with some ideas how this can be resolved before you listen to other person. You should be very calm. You should have a very positive attitude, very, very much career centric, right? Rather than, okay, let's try this. Okay, I'm getting good pay packages over here. And why I'm reiterating all these again and again, because in current time, versus 20 years, 15 years back when I started my career, these days people are just focused towards money. They really don't bother which role they are doing. So when we see the people's CV, we really feel they have not attained anything, and at one level they really become lost, or they lose the interest in PV and they said, oh, there is nothing left over here. So with this webinar, I really want to share these particular experiences to you. I really want to give you a thought process that you have to think if you really want to have a serious career in PV, that either start with a functional perspective, right? Multiple things are there. As I said, I can reiterate again: contact center, then literature search, ICSR management, aggregate report, safety report writing, signal management, quality and compliance, transition, lot and lot role come into this one. Once you are into this, then comes the leadership role: team lead, managers, associate managers, vice president, directors, so and so. Then comes the business development roles, pre-sales, marketing, where you yourself will behave as a solution architect, that you know everything about PV, and now you can really demonstrate yourself as a salesperson. So accordingly, that profile is a very, very demanding and comes with a lot of challenges. And then comes the automation and transformation part, where you really attain this much of information and go ahead. So with that note, I would like to take a pause and open the forum for a very, very interactive discussion, guys. We have almost 30 minutes with us, but I would really like to address anybody's and everybody's questions. And if you have anything for me, let's discuss about it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sakshi. So I always tell students importance of learning somebody who knows that field in entirety. But sometimes what happens, students just ask their senior, who does not even have experience of working in PV. And most of the time they simply say, it is not worth, there are no opportunities. Some random thing which they have in head, they simply share with their juniors. And based on that little opinion, they form a understanding about PV, and that might influence their decision making. But talking to somebody like you, who has understanding of all the domains which you listed out, it will give them much clear picture. And I'm sure this is not just going to help freshers, but also people who are currently working, and that can stimulate them to think better and at least take a decision now on how their future is going to be. So thank you so much for that. And
anytime.
So I loved the presentation. We did so many sessions on PV, but you brought a very fresh and unique perspective. You're taught with so much of wisdom. So we will open for questions. Anybody who has a question can unmute, introduce yourself and ask. So you don't have to hesitate. You might have seen how open and enthusiastic she is. So you don't have to worry. You can unmute, introduce and ask your question.
Absolutely. As I say, connection, active communication resolves 90% of the problems. So go ahead, guys. So out of 81, none has any question. Everybody is so clear. So either I will take it this way that I'm so good in sharing my messages that everything and everybody is clear, or either none has got anything. So was the correct was the correct way, guys?
So I'm sure they understood everything, but sometimes they take little time to open up and ask.
Yeah, hi ma'am, good evening.
Hello,
Yeah, hi
ma'am.
sir,
Good
good
evening.
evening.
Very good evening, Panda. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, myself Mr. Krishna Panda, a recent B Pharma graduate. And I have one doubt. As per Dr. Karthik sir, we usually go with the seniors reference and the seniors based on their the path we used to think. On the way, when I used to meet some seniors those who are in pharmacovigilance, I used to ask how is the life going and how the chances you are coming. So they usually say, yeah, it's go fine for the fresher, but while we are changing the for job opportunity while getting experience, there are very less opportunity we are getting, very hard for the domain. So what you say about this?
I think Dr.
Uh,
Sakshi.
so Krishna, what I am unsure with whom you are interacting, but definitely if they're your seniors, they must have got attained some experience. But as I am telling you, it all depends upon looking for the opportunities, target the right companies. Most of us actually during our initial career days are not even aware how many companies are there in India whom we can target for PV jobs, right? Most of us are even not aware how many pharma companies are there who is really doing in-house pharmacovigilance. Just to share, um, it is a mandate that every pharmaceutical company has to have a setup of pharmacovigilance if they want to market their drugs. So you need to understand with this statement that how bigger the platform is, how bigger the opportunity is. Now coming back to the roles, I will not appreciate, or I will not go with that there are less opportunity. It all depends upon which particular companies you target, how you demonstrate yourself into your CV. As I say, I have seen multiple CVs and people say our CVs get rejected. But to your surprise, most people really don't know. Even I got to know after 15 years how to demonstrate and how to write and what needs to be right in a CV. It's kind of advertising yourself. So you should know how you have to put yourself into the market, how you brand yourself, right? Connect with the people on LinkedIn, connect with the people, attain certain skills, and then the entire industry is yours. I have told you almost 15 plus roles, and these are having subsections, triple sections, upper layers, lower layers, vertical layers, side layers. You need to understand it's a boom, it's a big industry. But again, it depends upon an individual. Sometimes we feel lost, but if you are aware, hey, I really want to get into PV, today's time also I read the guidelines, and most of people say how get you know how you get time, but I really spend some time so that nobody can make me fool about it. So you should know what is needed, and if you feel that, hi Sakshi, I really want to get into a leadership role after 10 years, then you really have to put across a plan for yourself after 2 years, after 4 years, after 6 years, after eight years, where Krishna want to reach. And for that, what efforts he or she has done, and how you have put your across connected, how many people you are connected. Are you with the right connects or are you not? So that way you really able to get an insight, that way you will able to look for your path. Otherwise, it will always look hazy. Otherwise, you will always get to hear that there are very less opportunity. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thanks for
Yes,
the great
yes. I
explanation.
will
Now
just
I get it.
add
Perfect.
add to it. So this is again one common thing which I keep hearing. But I can give you many examples in my network, and we have Dr. Sakshi who has grown to heights in pharmacovigilance. So even in my network, I have few people who started basic role, and within short span of time they performed well and they got an opportunity. But it does not mean that everybody who started with them at that same time point in same company got those promotions or higher positions. As she was saying, it all depends on how you perform. Sometimes it is very easy to blame or simply say, give a statement that there are no higher possibilities. But we should also reflect on ourselves. Are we really capable of making that opportunity ours? If we put some efforts in that direction. So I think if you focus on that aspect, you can find opportunities. And I always say growth is there in every field, not just in pharmacovigilance. It can be any other field. Ultimately, the growth does not depend on in which field you are, but in whatever field you are, if you perform better and make yourself capable, that opportunity is always there. Okay. So,
Now,
Dr.
my next
Nasrin,
question is from Noshin. Ashwita just write hi, ma'am. So I'm unsure what you really want to ask,
no, no, ma'am,
Ashwita.
1 second. We will ask Naushin to unmute and ask. If that is not there, then we will read and answer. So, Naushin, you can unmute and ask. First priority.
Ashwita, you there? Ashwita, I just wanted to ask that if have started career in research and if continue same for 2 years later, if I want to shift to PV, will my previous experience helpful to join? Yes. If you want to start a career in research, now there are two things. If you want to get into a regulatory affairs and clinical operations and want to get into PV, then that experience is not going to get added. But if you want to get into a research like clinical trials, clinical development itself, and then further, you really want to groom into the same portfolio, same domain, then definitely it is going to be helpful. Ashwita.
So, Dr. Nasrin, do you want to unmute and ask?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Uh, Sir, actually, I'm into academics now, but due to some personal reasons, I'm on my leave, long leave. Actually, I wanted to shift my career to PV, but I inquired a few friends who are working in pharmacovigilance. When I asked for the reference, they usually say that when you are having both the works at a time, like when you have to manage your home and career, you cannot do it because it will be very stressful. If there is any supporting role for you at home, then only you can do this job. So I'm in a dilemma now. So can you say something about this, madam? As a woman, can you say about this?
Yes, Dr. Nasreen. So, what one thing, whosoever have told you that home and career cannot be managed by a woman, I must say they are so negative toward the society. They really do not appreciate people's inputs. And we are living in year 2022, where entire globe has went into digitalization, right? And at that time, whatever the kind of a job role you were doing, you were managing people, you were managing kids, you were managing all household work as well, along with your career. So that's very demotivating statement. And I must say, you should always bypass such comments or whatever the things. Now, coming back to your question, Nasreen, it is very much okay because, in today's time, every company is working in the hybrid model. And if you really want to work from home and taking care of your career, see, somewhere you have to go ahead with the hurdle. It's not like seamless is going to have, so you have to devote some time to the work. You have to go for the flexible work because, as I say, when it's pharmacovigilance, the quality, the timelines should not be compromised, right? So if you have to deliver something by 10 p.m., you have to deliver. Now, nobody's going to ask a question to you if you are in good hands that what are you doing, Nasreen? Why it's not there before 10 p.m.? And there are some pushy people as well who just recently got into a managerial role. It all depends which company you are working with, whom you are accompanying. But as I say, it is not at all impossible. In today's time, companies are giving work from home, and specifically We are working towards the inclusion where most women empowerment, and women who are sitting at home, they have a babies to take care, parents-in-law, own parents to take care. They're doing it. I am also doing work from home because I want to stay with my parents, right? At such a leadership role after almost 2.5 years. So next company, I've just recently joined a company where I told them that I am okay to travel, but I will work on my own pace, right? So Dr. Nasreen, what I want to convey to you, if you are confident enough, if you give a commitment that you will really going to deliver the task basis the requirement without any compromises, your work is always going to get appreciated. Take my point, and no company is there that is going to demoralize you. So people are working, companies are working in today's time in a hybrid model. It's just little tricky that sometimes you really get to know which companies are looking for people, and some companies, if really they are looking for initially come for 3 months to the to the site, you should go there, and then once you prove yourself, you can always ask for. See, unless you will not get somebody's confidence in you, nobody is going to show their belief, right? So if you are going to demonstrate, if you are going to say that, hey, Nasreen is good for anything and everything, and if you prove it, then your own manager is going to take a vouch on you, and he or she is going to fight for you. So work toward that, Nasreen. Trust me, it's not stressful. It's definitely time consuming. But again, as I said during the start of this particular webinar, that you should work toward that time management, self-organized, and then everything is good. So if you can distribute your time by your ways, where you can give time to family, kids, whosoever, and work, you're good to go.
I will add little my thoughts here. Everybody I know in my network who is a girl especially, all of them have family. Most of them have kids. They are married, but that did not interfere for them to do their job. So it is definitely possible to manage both home and career. But maybe for men it is little easy because they have support of maybe wife and parents. But girl, it is little challenging. But as I said, everybody in my network, they are married, they have kids, and they are managing both home and career very well. So don't go with that opinion that it is impossible. But sometimes I heard that there are some targets. Let's say I'm just making up numbers. You should be working on and submit 10 cases in a day. But again, if you learn doing that properly, effectively, initially you might take more time. But once you gain that expertise and mastery, you will not be requiring similar amount of time. So don't go with this negative opinions which focus on what is not possible. Focus on what is possible and it will happen. I think we answered that question. So much, yeah. So now she has some disturbance.
She is asking some
ma'am, I'll just
treasures. Okay.
Slightly modify that question. So can you tell us where to look for that information instead of straight away giving that entire list? If you can guide them on.
You can look into the Google, top 10 pharma companies or top 10 CROs, top 10 KPOs or 20 KPOs in India or in Bangalore, in Mumbai, in Pune, in Hyderabad, in Chennai. Just every information is available on Google. So target that companies. Even if you are on LinkedIn, try to connect with the HR of these particular companies, right? And try to, there are so many articles gets published every day. There are so many posts on people's mind that they are looking for freshers. Try to see that particular post and, connect with them. These days, people are really looking for freshers coming from the background of all the life science industry, healthcare professionals, and you really able to get all those information on LinkedIn, Google itself. So just try which are the best CROs or which are the 20 CROs in Delhi. You will get all the information, even the pharma company, even the CRO in the KPOs. In Mumbai, in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, in Chennai, in Kolkata. and you're good to go in Ahmedabad, right?
Yeah. So sometimes what I notice is students simply want like spoon feeding. I liked when you mentioned that don't depend on somebody to spoon feed you. But in this world, it is not impossible to find that information. You can try, we can definitely assist. So basically, my suggestion is put your effort, create a list, and then share it with us. And then we might say, okay, there are a few